I'll take other good luck.
Yeah.
Okay, Chair, 6 o'clock. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Discussion item, personnel. Well, I might as well I'll give you an update of where the trust is. We signed the last termination agreement at the last trust board meeting, so there are no more contracts sitting with the trust at this point. What we have is on January 1 is now we and the city take over individually and jointly, because the trust monies are still in the county's funds books. So we take over on January 1, operating a little mini insurance business. Okay? So what you're going to see tonight is some preparation on that. Yeah, Chair.
Any legal ramifications from disposing of the contracts?
Pardon me?
Any legal ramifications tied to the ending of the contracts?
No, not as of yet. Good. There may be, but
anyone threatened?
Huh?
Anyone threatened?
Yeah, they were threatened, but there hasn't been anything filed. And they probably won't know until after December 1st. Any other questions before we go on? Okay. First resolution is a resolution establishing monthly health insurance premium rate for 2013. I'll sponsor it. Needs a second. Bill? Now that we're in the insurance business, we were working with Darren Mosier, who's the actuarial for Benetech. When we got the Medicare Advantage plan presentation, if you noticed in there, he estimated that our premium was about 1% short once we take the Medicare population out of there. All right, so what you see in this resolution is an increase of 1%. So the single went from $630 a month to $636 in the PPO plan. All right, same thing holds true with the rest. So once we adopt it, then personnel can send out the notification to all the employees that are affected. Below that, you see the Teamsters rate, which is contractual, and so we just put that in so that everyone knows what the Teamsters rates are for 2013. Okay. Any discussion? Any questions? No? What's the pleasure of the committee? Move it? Move it. Okay. The next one is a resolution authorizing the chairman to sign an agreement with Employee Benefits Administrative Services, Benetech. I'll sponsor it, but I need a second. Brian, let me show you the second one first, the one that's the add-on, because this will lead into the next one. Earlier in the year, we went out for bids for insurance consulting, and the actual bid was, I don't know, $29,797 and something like that. There was two components to it. One was the health insurance consultant part, which was $18,000, and there was an $11,000 charge, which was the accumulation of monthly charges to take care of retiree billing. They're two separate things, actually. So, since we're working on the insurance budget for the M Fund, it was my recommendation that we break out the insurance consultant, because we can, if we want to bid it out, the consultant work, we can do that, and it's a separate number from retiree billing. Retiree billing actually got complicated, because when somebody leaves, you have accumulated time. There are ledgers that are kept, money's appropriated towards that to pay for their health insurance for a period of time. So that's more of an administrative duty than a consultant duty. So what you'll see in the second, the add-on, is actually, we'll be breaking it up, all right? So, the one that you have at hand, the administrative services, is a third-party administrator, which they were currently doing for the trust for Montgomery County now. So what they're going to be doing, this is a contract that's with the M Fund, and they're going to be working with Sean from January 1 on. All right, they'll be doing, because we're claims-based, we're not premium equivalent any longer. So what you're going to see is claims. They're going to be handling all the claims. They're going to be processing all the paperwork, because we really don't have the staff. It'll go to Sean. It'll go to personnel. So they'll be working together. All right. So that's what the third-party administrator is. Did I cover it? Yeah, Bill.
Is this budgeted for 2013?
This is part of the M Fund budget. This will be part of the health insurance cost. That $636 a month, and whatever those premiums are.
It's hidden in there?
This is part of the cost of those premiums.
Can this be moved from a 3-year to a 1-year?
It's got a 90-day option on it.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
You can get out of it.
Yeah.
There's a 90-day out clause in this thing. So 90 days prior to the end of the year, you want to get out of it, you can get out any year you want.
First page. First page.
All this does is basically, with the 3 years, I think they put in for like a 1% increase for each year for the next 3 years. So I think that's what you see. Okay, Brett?
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions from anyone?
I'm not sure if now is the time to ask it or the next one, but is the consultant, are they consulting their own administrative services for the add-on?
Consulting on administration.
I understand how they're breaking apart the different items, but the add-on for the consulting fees per month.
Is breaking out that contract that we did earlier
Right.
in the year, the $29,000 one, right? 11,000 of it went into this one.
Right.
The 18,000 will be this one. And then we're going to terminate the one that we did on July 1. There's no additional cost. It's the same amounts. Follow me?
Yeah.
Because the original contract, I think it was $29,797, something like that. All right, so 18,000 of it was the insurance consultant. And when you see the M Fund budget, you're going to see a line in that fund that says insurance consultant. All right, and that'll be the dollar amount. Then you're also going to see in that M Fund budget next Tuesday night when we bring it forward, you'll see in there Benetech, the third-party administrator costs.
And that's for the
In that M Fund budget. Okay? It'll all come together,
All right.
all right, by Tuesday night. Any further questions? If not, what's the pleasure of the committee? Move it?
Move it.
Move it? Okay. The add-on, like I said, is actually breaking apart that earlier agreement that we signed so that the consulting services is separate from the administrative services. All right, and there's part of the resolution is it's subject to termination of the...
We should have a sponsor on this one.
Oh, I need a sponsor, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll sponsor it. Is there a second? No. Okay, Brian? It's in the first resolve that the current agreement in effect with Benetech for employee benefits consulting services is hereby terminated on December 31. Okay, so what we'll have left is this contract and this contract. Questions? Concerns? Pleasure of the board? Ready? Move it?
Move it.
Move it? Move it, Bill? Okay. Anything else coming front? If not, motion to adjourn? Brian? Bill? Okay.
So in the second year, we question it.
I think everybody's in favor of that.
The board just has to tell them, just like 90 days.
So we gotta get to a termination agreement.
Okay. You could actually do it next
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
I didn't see the note.
That's the thing ahead.
Yeah,
90 days.
yeah, it's uncanny.
You don't really want to go through this again, do you?
Are you kidding me? Get out of town. I could recall it.
Okay, call the Finance Committee to order, please. You had an add-on at the end of your packet that has been pulled. So that is not a discussion item. As you're all aware, there's a special meeting next week starting at 5 o'clock on Tuesday to amend the tentative budget. If you have anything that you want to present, it's not too late. You can present anything from the floor. So what we may have to do is recess that meeting at 7 o'clock, start our full board meeting, have that, adjourn from that, and then reconvene with our budget meeting, just to give you a heads up. Anybody have anything they would like to discuss prior to going through the resolutions? Hearing none. First up's a resolution authorizing chairman to sign an agreement for services with Eastern Medical Support. Sheriff, we have a sponsor. We need a second. Ryan Sweet. Discussion? Pleasure of the committee. Move it. Opposed? It's moved. Next up is a resolution authorizing acceptance of credit cards through Value Payment Systems, LLC, for tax-related payments through the treasurer. We have a sponsor. We need a second. For Alan. As I recall, Sean, there is no fee assessed to the county on this, correct?
That is correct. It's a program where a convenience fee is passed on to the consumer. Because that's the issue with credit card. Accepting credit cards for the county is you cannot incur expenses on the county side for that. So fees must be passed on to the consumer.
Do you know what that fee is by any chance?
It's laid out in the contract. It's different for depending on what card you use. If you use a regular credit card, it's 2.45%. If you use a Visa debit card, it's a $3.95 charge. The minimum convenience fee is $2.
Okay. Bill?
Sure, will that be available online on the county website? So that's where you can pay your taxes with the card?
Maybe down the road it will. To start, it's just going to be accepting credit card in office. But if we can go, that option is available down the road.
All set, Bill?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Mike?
Similar question, when we pay at the bank, it's not available? Or the city collects?
No, this would just be for the county.
Just for the, well, I mean, they collect
Well,
county taxes.
No, but this would only be for county taxes collected in the treasurer's office.
Okay.
It would not be available to the towns during their collection period. Unless they wanted to go out and contract with this company themselves.
What happens when it's online, Sean? That wouldn't work. I'm sorry.
Well, it's all right.
Well, there's a lot more involved with online because you have to set up monthly updates through data processing to make sure all the information is accurate online. It is possible, and the service is part of this contract, but the initial step would just be to be able to accept the card in the office.
Is this just for delinquent taxes?
This would be just for delinquent taxes.
That's not what I was hoping for, but it's a step in the right direction. I'd love to see them be able to pull up the county website, give them your card, pay your taxes.
It's something that maybe could be expanded down the road.
I mean, the youth of today, that's all they believe in.
Yeah.
Not so much us dinosaurs, but kids today. Don't know what's wrong. I gotta say, it's gotta be a lot easier.
again, Larry. Wishes of the committee?
Move it.
Move it.
It's an option when you pay your income tax.
Yeah, I pay my school taxes on my debit card, and then I
Online?
get rewards for it.
Oh, well, yeah,
Nice.
get mine.
Next up's a resolution establishing a public hearing on the 2013 tentative budget. We have a sponsor, we need a second. Mike Sierra. That's for 6:30 on December the 18th. That's half hour prior to our full board meeting on December the 18th.
Do you want to have it in the courthouse, or do you want to have it here?
I think I'd just soon have it here unless we see that things are going to become tumultuous. And
Alrighty.
I mean, last year was,
We had it here and it was like,
was very docile.
I've seen the building when it's circled with fire trucks.
Sign from the window.
either.
Wasn't that long, huh?
Okay.
I have a couple of questions.
yeah, sure.
Maybe it's related,
Thank you.
maybe it isn't. But you're going to establish this, and I guess the usual procedure has been that you could come back in here, you're going to pass the budget. Is there going to be a resolution officially passing the budget? We have a document, and there will be a resolution establishing as best you can the rates.
It'll be at the December meeting. We plan on
You
having
will have
that.
that, there'll be two resolutions
Well,
like
hopefully
that.
we'll have that on the 27th, or after the 27th of this month.
There'll be a resolution, just one resolution saying
To
you
officially
pass,
adopt the
to adopt the budget as whatever is in the book.
As amended.
Yeah.
So we'll have an opportunity to look at the book before that's done.
You'll
Well,
have
I mean, I want to
something.
check it.
We won't see your tax rates before that's done.
Why can't you?
Willie Jones?
Well,
It would be an estimate.
Estimate, yeah, as long as there's something to know where
Because
it's.
there's always adjustments that are done to real property.
Right, real property, that court cases or surety, et cetera. Will that night, if I could ask, will that be available? We're doing this next week, and we leave at 11 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, or whatever. Will you, I was here when they left at 2. So,
Get home.
the question is, Ray, you'll give us the rates for everybody.
I'll be able to verbally give it to you, I won't be able to print it off.
Well, that's all right, as long as you can tell us what the rates are, that's what I need to know.
and then the plan is to have it at the
You know how I
December
feel.
meeting, the resolution to it.
Tell the stands are like minimal, aren't they?
Doesn't matter to me, I say the taxes have to be reduced, that's my opinion. I'm the only one who has that opinion.
Wishes of the committee? Move it.
Yeah.
Next up is a resolution approving abstract of audited claims. We have a sponsor, we need a second. Michael Sierra. His arm's the only one that works tonight. Discussion? Wishes of the committee? Move it. Opposed? Next up is a resolution amending 2012 operating budget, New York State Office of Homeland Security, 2008 grant, emergency management. We have a sponsor, we need a second. Brian Sweet. Discussion? Give us a rundown there, young man.
What it is it's the leftover money from the 2008 grant. Some of it was left over from training and other equipment that the county didn't purchase back in '08. The state has given us a couple extensions on it. It finally said you got to spend it by January 31st or lose it. So we're going to spend it on 4 AEDs. It's going to go in the county, 2 going to go in 2 of our vehicles, 1 for the fire training center, 1 for downstairs. Thermal imaging camera for the fire coordinator's vehicle, to update the old one. It's about 10 years old. Part of it's for the ID system, which we actually already have. It's just they moved it from the 09 grant funding to the 08 grant funding to get rid of that money. And the last is the FCC is requiring narrow banding to P25 compliancy. So a couple of the Yup County police departments are having problems. Fort Plain, King Jerry, and St. John's will have problems finding funding to replace these radios. They got 2 or 3 portables that were compliant, so we're going to be able to take. It's not quite 17,000; it's a little bit less than 15, and buy each of them 3 brand new P25 narrowband compliant portables for their use.
Okay. Discussion?
I have a question.
Supervisor Wheeler?
What happens with the with the old thermal imaging camera when you replace?
We can still use it. Actually, currently, it's being used in the city of Amsterdam.
Okay.
Theirs broke.
Okay.
So that's what they've done with it in the past. If one of the departments went down, they allowed them to
Use it as a backup.
So Amsterdam just replaced it, so we'll be getting that back shortly. So
Okay.
we'll have 2 of them again.
Use it as a backup for
Use it.
whoever needs it. Thank you.
Supervisor Strebe?
Is the P25 compliant radios, are they not the same units or similar units that the fire departments use?
No, because the fire departments are on the low band radio frequency.
Yeah, but don't they have to get off too?
No, it's not affected by the narrow banding or the P25 compliance at this point.
Because our fire departments are telling us they all gotta get new radios.
I don't. Yeah.
Good luck.
We just passed that budget, don't worry about it.
Well, that's not in this year's budget. I'm sure the other people are hearing it too.
They may have some high band radios. Like I belong to the town block. We have some radios that are high band because if you go to Fulton County, you have to have a high band radio to talk to them. Down here, neck of the woods, in order to talk to the ambulance, they have to have a high band radio. So these radios they may be replacing may be high band radios that they're replacing. But the county fire frequency, in order to talk to dispatch and all the other fire departments, is low band, which isn't affected by the new FCC regulation.
So you won't be buying radios for the fire department?
Not anytime, not right away. Not until the FCC comes out with that, which I'm sure will be coming down the line shortly.
Is high band working out well? I understand there's problems with high band.
It's actually, we're going out to bid right now on the microwave system for maintenance on that. My understanding is after the microwave system was put in last year in 2010, it's dramatically, it's corrected a lot of the problems that they've had. It's much better than low band. The low band has a lot more dead spots throughout the county. Fire departments have a lot more dead spots. There's parts of the county where you can be on opposite sides of a house and not talk to the other firefighters on the opposite side of the house, where the high band doesn't have that problems because they can put it on a repeater and repeat it back to wherever it's got to go. So.
Wishes of the committee? Move it. Next up is a resolution authorizing chairman to sign agreement telecom wireless cell phones and rescinding resolution 337 of 2006 Public Works. We have a sponsor. We need a second. For Bellin. Discussion.
How long is?
Supervisor Wheeler.
Thank you. How long is the contract for? 2 years?
It's a month-to-month contract. It can be terminated at any time.
Perfect.
It's not like a personal cell phone. We have to sign a
Okay.
contract.
Excellent. Thank you.
You said 16,000 minutes? 15,000?
15,000.
15,000.
Yeah. 15,000 shared minutes.
Supervisor Street.
Am I missing something, Chair? There's no cost attached to this?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a cost in the last one, and the one in the 337 that this replaces.
Do you have a cost?
Yeah, it's going to be approximately $1,425 per month.
Is that a not to exceed number? Or?
Says reduce cost here.
Well, I
No,
suppose
not
that-
really.
Right.
Yeah, if for some reason our usage got all squirrely or something, it could exceed that. But as long as we don't exceed the 15,000 minutes, it won't exceed that cost. Because there are some air cards in there too. I think there's 4 or 5 air cards that are part of that plan, that processing issues.
Supervisor Allen.
Is there any way of checking that this is only going to be used for county purposes?
Every department gets a copy of their phones monthly. I review mine for my department. I don't know what other departments do. I assume they do the same thing. I know 3 or 4 years ago, there was an issue. The usage was way up, and I think Butch was chairman that year. He sent out a memo, and the usage dropped way back and stayed within reason after that. So I'm assuming all the departments are doing that.
Okay.
Supervisor Sweet.
If you put a price tag on this, and if the rates go up from one year to the next, is it gonna, will it have to be adjusted? You have to adjust the resolution? I mean,
Well, if you put it not to
It's
exceed,
a month, right?
it's a monthly bill, you need to actually have.
if you put it not to exceed and it exceeds it, you're gonna have a special resolution to pay the bill that month.
England
It
estimated.
just seems funny that it's in finance when there's no cost attached. So you might as well let him do it on his own,
Pretty much.
because the numbers out there in space someplace.
Isn't the resolution basically to open it up so that you're not stuck to the next note?
Well, there was a resolution on the books, right, it tied us to next up.
So basically to get you out of that resolution saying you're gonna stay with Nextel, really isn't a monetary thing,
The old one is on the back.
I don't know why John must put it on there.
Oh, is it? Yeah. I don't have it on the back of mine.
Oh, well, turn the computer around.
And with Verizon, if you do go with Verizon minutes,
So it won't count against the, right, so I don't think we're not gonna be anywhere near the 15,000.
It doesn't tell you a lot, but it's there.
Supervisor Street, you voted for that one too.
I see that. That's not to say it was done right.
All right, wishes of the committee? Move it.
You should stop recycling paper.
Opposed? All right, moving on. Next up is a resolution authorizing chairman to sign engineering services agreement, debris assessment of Scary Creek, ESD project number X907, Public Works. We have a sponsor. We need a second. Supervisor Allen. Discussion? I'll give us a rundown, Paul.
Yeah, I have copies of the attachment A and B that are referred to in the resolution. I'm sorry. It's okay. Attachment A is an estimate of the hours to complete the contracting phase, execution phase, project closeout phase. The second page, direct expenses. And the third page is the total of the cost factors. Attachment fee is the proposed services broken down, outlined by categories.
Much of this is reimbursable.
This this would all be covered under the Empire State Development Grant.
100%? 100%.
Move it.
Are there time constraints that need to be met?
There are no time constraints in the paperwork for the grant that I've seen. The time constraints would be weather-based on completing the survey, because it's actually going to take physically walking the entire 15 miles up the Square.
Does the grant upfront any of the money?
I think it's a reimbursement.
Reimbursement? Discussion?
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Wishes of the committee? Move it? Move it?
She said.
Opposed?
Let everybody decide.
All right, moving on. This should be the last one, yes it is. Resolution amending 2012 operating budget. Board of Supervisors, we have a sponsor, we need a second. Supervisor Chiara. Discussion? Wishes of the committee? Move it. Opposed? Move it. Anything else? Go right ahead.
Did I shake my head or not? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, no.
Doug has something he wants to. Go ahead.
Very briefly, at the October board meeting, I was asked by Supervisor Quackenbush to check into the feasibility of canceling taxes on a piece of property in Fort Wayne that had become owed by a tax-exempt qualifying organization. And as I suspected, and as Sean and I spoke, it's not pursuant to statute. That's not something that is allowable for us to do. And I also reached out to the village attorney, properties in Fort Wayne, who, from the village's perspective, had also come to the same conclusion. So I was asked to report back on that at the Finance Committee, so that's what I'm doing. I can communicate it to Supervisor Quackenbush separately if you'd like.
Yeah.
That's all.
Supervisor Stagliano, you
Nope.
had something? Oh, I'm sorry. Motion to adjourn? Supervisor Sweet, Supervisor Chiara. All in favor?
Never agreed to give up a statement.
I have no idea.
It's not